Moving on, though, to the next clip that we're going to be talking about, Trump really wanted to get into immigration and was trying to tie its effects to the economy. The moderators had other plans. They might have thought things would get a bit heated with immigration. So instead, they turned to a topic that never gets ugly, abortion. Earlier this year, the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Trump frames the decision as rightfully turning the decision back to the states. Harris warns Americans the decision is a prelude to a national abortion ban. Let's hear what they had to say.
Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times.
I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. This is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened.
Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that.
They have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia. He said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
If Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it came to your
Well, I won't
desk?
have to, because, again...
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it.
Look, we don't have to discuss it. The fact is that for years they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government, and we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America.
Kamala obviously getting some more of that confidence that you said she gets later in the debate in that section. I know Trump supporters have expressed frustration at the moderators interjecting themselves throughout the debate. What do you think about moderators taking on the role of fact checker at a presidential debate?
I think it's getting somewhere. I think it's good that we have fact checkers, but I'm not sure how I feel about their you could tell which, like, where they push themselves and where they interrupt people speaking. I think they the way they pressed him for a yes or no answer, I think it's not done in every single question. Like, a lot of times they're able to just dodge other questions. So I think it's very selective. I don't think, like, so many other questions, like, people have been asked are yes or no, and they've never been, like, forced like that to give an answer. I think it's, like, some people like it, but I do definitely see how people, specifically Trump supporters, are upset with that because they interject where in, like, some places but not in other places, and I just feel like that can be construed as unfair.
Yeah, that's interesting. You bring up the yes or no thing. There was a lot of times where the moderators were like trying to box the candidates in, saying yes or no. Now, obviously they were, I mean, because you can say Kamala was dodging the restrictions yes or no question. Trump was dodging the veto yes or no question. But obviously they're going to dodge these questions. You know, they're not going to say yes or no. I mean, I really do feel like interjecting and saying yes or no is a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
I think the moderators could be doing other things. Now, in terms of moderators, I understand, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of time to talk about it more throughout these, because they do interject a lot. I don't think Kamala Harris was fact-checked once during the debate. That being said, I think when it comes to fact-checking, there is like a difference between like fact-checking like an egregious lie versus like a half-truth. That being said, I do think the moderators fact-checked Trump. I think they did interrupt him during some half-truths that he said that didn't really need to be interrupted, specifically about crime. We'll talk about that later. But, you know, in terms of the national abortion ban that Kamala Harris is swearing that Trump's going to sign into law, is this this was a big source of contention for Trump supporters? When I was looking at X and some of the threads, you know, that I saw, people were like, you know, this is a lie. And he straight up says it, like, I will not do that. But I mean, the reality is, isn't it more of like a half truth? Because like he has flirted with an abortion ban, a 15-week, a 20-week. He's been a little cagey on the Florida 6-week abortion ban. So it's like not outside of the realm of possibility that this could happen. So I'm wondering, like, how egregious, like, of a lie, like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like normal half-truth, you know, that politicians, like, that's their bread and butter, and 10 being this the most ridiculous claim this side of Haitian immigrants eating dogs and cats. Where do you think the national abortion ban accusation from Kamala Harris lies?
I think it's like what you said. 1 is like,
you know what? Let's actually make that different, because maybe that's a little misleading and a little biased. Let's say 10 is complete, utter ridiculousness, and 1 is, that's not a lie. That's the most honest thing I've ever heard anyone say.
Okay. I think it's like a 7, because I definitely, like, she knows that her voters care about this a lot. She knows that. And I think she knows that a lot of people, like, for a lot of people, it's a very passionate issue for them, and it's very divided, it's very polarized. But so I think she's trying to scare people by saying this. I think she's trying to get it into people's heads that he will sign a ban. So I think she's using it in a way where I definitely think it's like a 7.
Wow, a 7. I'd go 5, but
really?
You go 7. Wow, that's crazy.
I think it's like in the context, like she's building up her speech. She's saying, like, she's giving all these examples. She's getting very aggressive with it. And then she's saying, yeah, he's going to sign a ban. I think the way she's using it, I think it's like made to scare people. I think, yeah.
Okay, on the flip side, let's go to Trump. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being Honest Abe or George Washington, I cannot tell a lie, and 10 being like, what the hell is going on here? Like, we're living in an alternate reality. Trump's saying that they execute the babies after they're born. Where do you think that falls, 1 to 10? If you say 7, I swear. No, you can say whatever you want.
Wait, 1 is like honest, and then
yeah, 1 is like they absolutely 100% doctors are just executing babies right after they're born. It's a epidemic that needs to be like clamped down on. And 10 is just like there are no doctors anywhere that are executing babies after they're born.
Okay, well, it's pretty high up on that scale, because based off I didn't get to do too much research on it, but based off the fact, like, I find it very, like, they even said, like, it's not legal to kill a baby after it's born. Like, that's, like, I'm just almost, like, confused as to why that would be said. Like, I think that's also meant to scare people. I think it's meant to appeal to his fan base, who, they want to hear that. They want to hear Trump say that. And it's, like, I don't know, it's just a lie. Like, I don't even, like, it's just confusing to me why.
Oh, so maybe it breaks the scale. You're like, I don't even know where to put it on that scale. I mean, it's interesting because like the way he phrases it, execute is totally meant to fearmonger. As far as I'm concerned, like, and maybe I'm wrong here. Like I said, like I'm just some dude, but I'm under the impression that like over 90% of abortions occur in the first trimester and 1% happen after 21 weeks. And when we're talking about that, we're talking about babies with like serious deformities that are not viable outside the mother's womb, that risk the life of the mother if carried to term. And then like, let's say there are cases where, that babies do pass, after they're born, but we're talking about like the scenarios there are like either like doctors have no idea how to even save the baby's life to begin with because like the case is so unusual, or B, they just do not have the resources to do it. I mean, any way you slice it, these are tragic situations. So I think it's unfair to paint it in such a black and white, like abortion on demand sort of thing. I think granted, like I don't want to like, I understand people have religious objections, moral objections. Yeah. And I understand that like there are legislation that works on bans around like exceptions. And Trump was saying like he's for exceptions. Reagan was for exceptions. I understand that this whole topic is not, like, it's a huge gray area, and I think people need to talk about it in less bad faith. I think, like, it would be more beneficial. And that includes, like, Kamala saying, like, not saying that de facto he will 100% sign a national abortion ban. Like, you could say he flirted with it,
Yeah.
You could say it's a possibility, it's a risk. Like, are you willing to take that risk? But to say like 100%, like if you vote Trump, no abortions ever, no exceptions, like is just like, is also fear mongering. It's arguing in bad faith.
I think it doesn't do service to any of them because if they talk about it like this, like I don't think it looks good in any light. Like you're talking about such a serious issue with such they're just being so flippant about it. They're saying like, yeah, like we kill babies. Yeah. Who's going to sign a ban? Like, I just don't, they don't treat it, like they don't see it for what it is. They don't see it as like a serious issue with all these complexities. They kind of see it as like, okay, I can pick on one thing that he's saying during this debate about abortion. Like it almost gives the image that like they both planned ahead, and they're like, okay, yeah, so when we talk about abortion, I'm going to say that Trump said this. I'm going to say that that they're killing babies like right after they're born. I don't think it doesn't sound genuine. It sounds just so flippant. It's almost like disrespectful to the issue itself.
Yeah, it's almost like they train like how fighters do for a fight, if he gives you one of these, you give him one of these, it's honestly like not even like an honest conversation about these things. They have their bullet points. They do get trained for this, I think Trump got trained by, who helped Trump? Tulsi Gabbard. No idea where that training came in because I didn't, I didn't see anything that I was like, oh, that must have been Tulsi's idea. But yeah, it's almost like a fight. And that's when we talk about, I like to separate politics and policy. I think politics and policy are very different. I think politics is just the act of attaining power so that you can implement policy. Yeah. But like so many times we conflate the two. We're like politics is policy, policy is politics. And I just think like we'd be better off separating them entirely from these scenarios. I think we'd have better debates. Also, I think we should extend the length of time. Like, I think maybe they should have to talk for 5 minutes minimum or 10 minutes minimum.
I don't think anyone really got a clear idea for like the policies that they were hoping to learn more about because they spend their 1 minute attacking the other person. I just don't think it was productive in that way.
Yeah, because if you time to like 1 minute or 2 minutes, well, they have those 2 minutes, 1 minute prepared. Yeah. So it's like, say, you know what? You have to talk about this for a minimum of 20 minutes. Then it's like they're going to actually have to like expound upon their ideas.